We all know that dodgeball is an absolute staple in youth ministry, but today we're going to talk about 7 variations to keep dodgeball interesting. And stick around to the very end for my youth group's absolute favorite.
Welcome to the Ministry Coach Podcast, where we talk all things youth ministry and give you weekly tips and tactics to help you fast-track the growth and health of your youth ministry. My name is Jeff Lascola. This is
Kristen Lascola.
And today we have 7 dodgeball games or dodgeball variation games.
Yeah, because what goes better with youth ministry than
Dodgeball.
dodgeball? And the kids love it. But you can't just play dodgeball every week.
You have to get creative about how you hit a kid in the face with a ball.
Yeah, and headshots count. P.S.
Yeah.
Come on. Welcome to junior high, you big baby. No, really, headshots count. Anyways, these are, we have 7 for you to keep it interesting, keep it spicy, so that you're not just playing the same dodgeball game over and over and again. Although they would probably like that. They probably wouldn't
seriously.
mind. Okay, so number 1, I swear I invented this game. I've said that
You say
before
that
about
a lot of
other games. Hello, 17 years. I hope I've invented some games, not just like stealing games. But hey, if you are the creator of this game, just contact me and I will gladly give you credit because right now it's me. So this is called Chariot races. And basically, like those sleeping bags that get left after camp and you're like, no matter how many emails you send or how many times you say whose sleeping bag is this, no one claims it.
Right.
Well, I've got a use for those. Or you can go to a thrift store or maybe you have one laying around. But basically, all you need is one sleeping bag per team. And it needs to be the kind of sleeping bag that has the slick bottom. That's
It's like a polyester kind of thing, not
not like cloth. Right. So it's like the waterproofish material. So you can just do 2 teams. All you need is 2 sleeping bags. If you want to do more than that, as many as you need. So you get all the kids in a line per team and you pick a couple of people to be the horses that are going to pull the chariot. Normally, I choose 4 people, so I have 2 go at a time, and then after those people get tired, because they will, once I explain it, you'll understand why. And then, they have 2 other people that they can tag to come and fill in for them. So you get your first rider on. So you have to unzip the sleeping bag so that it is a big square, like a big blanket, and slick side on the ground. And this helps, like our auditorium floor is not carpeted.
It's like a polished concrete.
And so it works really well. Or if you have like one of those basketball floors or something like that, if you have a carpeted surface, this game could still work. You're going to need some strong horses. It's going to be a little more friction. I've played it with carpet before. It worked. It was just harder for the kids, which fine with me. I'm not pulling.
Tire them out.
So once you have the sleeping bag all unrolled and all opened up, you get your first rider on and they just sit on and they hang on to the sides. Very important. Make sure they're holding on because they will fall backwards once the horses start pulling. So they're holding on to the sides and then the 2 horses grab the top corners. So they're standing up, grabbing the top corners of the sleeping bag. There's a rider
like
on.
The front 2 corners.
Right. You have 2 cones at the end, and that is where they make their drop. So you give the rider a dodgeball. Every rider gets one. And then when you say go, the horses start pulling, and the rider has the opportunity to do a couple of things. Number 1, not fall off, because if they fall off, you have to start all over. So that's why they need to hang on at the starting place. They also are trying to hit the other rider with a dodgeball for an extra point, and they're trying to make it across the finish line. So for every rider that the chariot gets across the finish line, they get a point. For every person hit while they're riding, they get that 1 shot. So you're going to have leaders retrieve these dodgeballs and get them back to the riders, or have a bunch of dodgeballs, but they're going to get 1 shot while they're on to throw it at the other rider. If they hit them, you can get creative here. If you want to make it worth a few points, if you want to make it so the other rider's out, I don't know. You can figure it out. I usually just give them extra points because I like to let the other rider finish their race. So once they get across the finish line, that rider gets off as quick as they can. Usually the horses just fling them off, like, get off, and they run back and go get another person. So you time it. So, say you do 60-second rounds, you count the riders, you have a leader at the end tallying how many riders came across the finish line. And then you probably need a separate leader to tally how many riders their team hit. So 2 different scorekeepers, they combine those points for a total score. Most points wins. Hopes that made sense.
Approximately how long of track are they running on?
Good question. So, obviously that's going to depend on the size of your room, but so as to not tire them out too much, I would make it, what do you think it is from sound booth to stage? How many feet? That's what we do.
Really far distance.
Is that?
Yeah.
Like 30 feet?
No, it's probably closer to 60 or so.
What? Well, use your best judgment. I don't know. Whatever you feel like. And then use your judgment also.
25 feet seems like it'd be enough.
25 feet. So, like, some kids swear they're like yoked and they want to pull the riders, and you're like, okay. And so if you don't want to make them feel bad, but you also don't want to set the whole team up to lose, maybe you say like, okay, like you do the first couple and then they're going to join in. So, try to use your youth pastor superpowers there and kind of patch up the situation. But that game is super duper fun.
Yeah.
If you want to get even more creative, you could have like the rider wear a crown as they go to Burger King and get a bunch of the crowns and they all get to wear them. I don't know. You can get as creative as you want with that. But I love that game. It's super duper fun. And it's a great use for those sleeping bags
that aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
Not going anywhere. All right. Number 2, this is also a really fun game. This is called the Square of No Return. So basically what we do is we tape our room into like a giant 4 square. So, obviously a tape line in the middle and then one across. And the squares are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. So you divide your youth group into 3 equal teams. You put 1/3 in square 1, 1/3 in square 2, 1/3 in square 3, nobody in square 4 to start. So basically it's like a 4-way dodgeball. Well, starts out as 3-way dodgeball. So you have to stay in your square and you throw to try to get people in other squares out. Typical dodgeball rules apply. Mm-hmm. Here's where the twist comes in. If you get out, instead of getting out, because I know you youth pastors don't like elimination games because then you're like, what do we do with these kooks? They have nothing to do. And then they cause problems and are bored. So if you get out, you just go into square 4. That is a square of no return. Now, once you're in the square of no return, you can actually get out of it until it becomes like the square of no return. So you get out, you go to square 4, you're still playing, but now there's a timer going and you can set that time limit based on whatever you want. Once that goes, if you're in square 4, when the timer goes, you're completely out. So the way that it works is if I'm in square 4, you're in square 1, I want to get out really bad. I hit you.
Do we swap?
We switch places. Okay. So now I get to come to square 1. You're in square 4. We're watching the clock. You have 5 seconds left. You're desperately throwing the ball. When the buzzer goes, if you're in square 4, we clear it out and they're out. So then it does become elimination, but it buys you a little more time and it's more fun. So then the herd continues to thin. You play that way until, you could play down to 1, you could play down to the top 10, whatever you want to do. But that's really fun for them to try to beat the clock. You kind of get a second chance. The switching places is kind of fun. So that is square of no return. Number 3 is Dr. Dodgeball. Now, Dr. Dodgeball, I have heard the same name, but the game described different ways. So I'll just tell you how we play. Because if you're like, Dr. Dodgeball, I know how to play that game. I don't know. I thought I did too. And then we started playing this game. I'm like, is this Dr. Dodgeball? Right. I don't know. So it's dodgeball in the sense that it's same thing of like 2 sides, standard dodgeball rules. I don't think we need to go into that. If we do, just comment below and we'll explain dodgeball for you. And also, are you even in youth ministry? Okay, so first day, it's okay. You could be new. But if a student gets out, instead of going completely out, they drop to the ground and they're like considered like a dead body, right? If you want to call it something more friendly than that, be my guest. But essentially, they're like a dead body.
Yeah.
And so the doctor can be anyone. Basically, they just need to clear the dead bodies off their side.
So it's not one or two people designated as a
No,
doctor.
and see, that's where it gets a little weird because I've played Dr. Dodgeball and there was like, okay, the doctor comes in and they can do
Okay.
this. But the way I play, it's like, I just give them a limit. Like, you cannot have any more than 3 dead bodies on your side at a time. So, or your whole team is out. So what that means is people are trying to play, not get hit, and also drag these kids off.
Gotcha.
And that's what it means. Like, you have to like grab their arms and legs. So you might need to grab a couple other friends to help you and drag these people off, because if your side gets too full with the bodies, your whole team is out.
But in the meantime, they're sitting ducks by dragging them off and they can be hit, correct?
Right. Like, you're super vulnerable if you're trying to, so you have to strategize. Like, I need to clear them, but I'm also going to be super vulnerable. And so it's just a fun extra challenge. So if it's too hard to do 3, only if you have a really big group, maybe you make it like no more than 5 dead bodies or no more than whatever number fits your context.
So dead body gets dragged off. Or do they have the opportunity to come back in with standard dodgeball
That's
if you
up to
catch
you.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how everyone plays that a little different in terms of like, catch it, do you come back in or not?
You call it born again. Hey.
Oh, I see what you did
I
there.
did. It is a youth ministry podcast.
It is. We all know what you mean. Well, the reason I don't do that is because I like to play multiple rounds. I don't like one eternal round. And so I feel like when people come back in, it's like just the round goes
You can just
forever.
do it by a time limit, though.
Yeah.
Who has the most in at the end of that time? Whatever.
Yeah, and that is minor.
Whatever works for you.
People can do their preference on that. But the point is, it's the extra fun challenge of trying to get these people off your side so that your whole team doesn't go down. So pretty fun. You might need some leaders to help you watch that. Sometimes it's hard to lead a game and pay attention to every detail. So anyways, then number 4 is nail polish dodgeball, which I just peeled mine off. I don't really have any.
Nice.
Except for this one little pinky still hanging on. Okay.
And just to interrupt you for a second, if anybody wants the instructions for these games, as always, we provide those. Just email us at ministrycoachpodcast@gmail.com and we will email you all the instructions.
How nice of you, Jeff, to do that.
Nail polish
dodgeball. Okay, so this one's kind of fun. It seems really like weirdly basic. I'm just telling you what they love. My students love this game and they ask for it. So I have this like gallon-sized Ziploc bag of all this like old nail polish that someone gave us. And so we pull that out and we pull out a big table and the kids start playing dodgeball like normal. But if you get out, again, to kind of go around the whole elimination thing, they get out and they go to the nail polish station and they have to get 1 nail painted and then they get to go back in. Well, if they are out a ton of times and they get all 10 nails painted, then they're completely out. So it just kind of gives them 10 extra lives. And it's just like, I don't know why they think it's hilarious. The girls, it just must be a girl guy tension thing, because the girls love like, oh, I'll do the nails. I want to paint people's nails if they get out. Cause a lot of girls don't like to play dodgeball for good reason. I got hit in the eye once and I could not some 8th grade boy hit me in the eye with a wet rubber ball. It wasn't a gator ball. And my eye like was pouring.
Yeah.
And so the girls get a little scared. And so that gives the girls a fun thing to do. And I'm not being like sexist, like girls, you paint the nail. You don't have to make them. I'm just saying if they ask you and then the boys get like so just silly and weird about it and they secretly love it and it's just kind of this fun, weird, unexpected thing and it gives you 10 lives to like keep going in. So
and then they get home and they have to explain to their parents why their nails are painted.
Well, and here's the weird unintended consequence is they go right back in and play. So you might get a little bit of nail polish on your dodgeballs, but it's fun. And so they request it. I don't know if you're feeling weird about it, just try it. what could you have to lose, and then see what your kids think. Okay, number 5 is protect the president. And we've talked about that one because this is a great small group leader, small group bonding type of game. So basically, you spread the small groups out around the room. They can pick their spot. I don't designate where they go. I just say, find your small group. And they get in their little huddle, and the small group leader is the president, and the small group students are the Secret Service. I have 2 small group leaders per small group. I just say choose one. It's too hard to play with 2 presidents. Okay. So we usually get to play about 3 rounds of this game. So the leaders just switch, or there's sometimes a leader who just doesn't want to play, and that's fine. So they're the Secret Service, and their job is to protect their president, meaning that a dodgeball game starts to ensue, but there's no boundary. So the kids can go up and hit. They don't. They stay really close to their like huddle small group. If you get hit, you're out. If you catch it, the person who threw it is out. If your president gets hit, your entire team is out. And the last president / small group leader to be standing wins. We've explained this one before, and my leaders get so competitive. They like curl up into these little balls, and they're like try to make themselves as small as possible so that nobody can hit them with the ball and nobody can see them. You know, they'll like just like the students get fiercely protective. It's like this fun bonding thing. And when a small group wins, they just erupt. Exactly. That's the word I was going to use. They just erupt, and it's so fun, and they talk a little trash, but it's just like this fun competitive energy that it creates. So yeah, that's protect the president. That's one of our staples for dodgeball variations, as well as we actually played this one last night, Scatterball. So Scatterball is another like every man for himself kind of thing, although they always seem to form weird alliances. And I'm like, one of you is going to go down. You might as well just finish them right now because you're standing right next to them. So you throw a bunch of dodgeballs into the room, and if you get hit with a dodgeball, you're not out, you're just down. So you can't move anymore. So you're down on the ground, and if a dodgeball happens to come by and you hit somebody who's standing, you guys kind of essentially switch spots. So that person goes down, you get to stand up. If you're in possession of the ball, you don't just get to run crazy wherever you want. You take 2 steps, and then you have to throw it. Last man standing wins. In order to make it a little more able to finish the game, as there's less people, we tighten up the boundaries and get them closer and closer. And then another thing we do is every couple of minutes, I clear the floor. So I say, all right, if you're down, you have 60 seconds to try to get up, and then you're out for good. Otherwise, like I said, it's just an eternal game because it's like everyone's constantly up, down. And then when is there a winner? I like there to be a clear ending to games. And so I let it go for a while, but then, okay, you're cleared. You know, have to go sit on the steps. All right, next round, 3, 2, 1. And then we play again. And then obviously some candy for the winners never hurts. And that's Scatterball. And they love that game. It's a really good time. And you can play, if you get glow in the dark dodgeballs, that is a really fun game to play, like at a glow event or something like that.
Yeah. And if you guys check down in the description below, we're going to put our recommendations for the best dodgeballs to use.
Yeah. I protect them with my life though, because man, they're expensive-ish in our world. And I feel like people will bring them out because they think they're regular dodgeballs because they just look white. And I'm like, no, put those away, lock them up, because I don't want them to get lost.
You're talking about the glow in the dark ones.
Yeah, okay. Because my leaders usually go into our game closet and they get the big bag of our dodgeballs, and then some leader will always bring out the white ones. I'm like, no, those are the glow in the dark gator balls. They're precious. No. Okay, so we're going to end with number 7. This is our students' absolute favorite, requested every week, chant it all the time, game. They love this game. All right, Secret Weapon. I would love to hear if you guys play this game, what your kids think of it, or if my kids are just crazy. and they like it. I'm like, and this has been going on for generations.
Yeah.
It's not just like this year they love it. Like, I can't remember a class for the last 17 years that didn't every Tuesday, predator, predator, predator. And then you have to be like, no, we're not playing predator tonight. And you let everyone down. Okay, you ready for predator? Here we go. So I usually do 2 teams. You can do as many teams as you need to fit your group, but no less than 2, obviously. So every person gets a game card. The game card is like their team card. So you pick any random assortment of teams. I like to do something weird and off the wall. Are you surprised? That is something relevant, you know? So this past time, I couldn't think of anything. So I did team cold foam versus team pink drink. And it was like these Starbucks drinks, whatever. It was a long day. I couldn't think of anything. So basically you divide them into 2 teams and or more. And then every player gets a card that says either team pink drink or team cold foam. All right. So then you give the students about a 60-second head start and they leave the auditorium. Prior to this, you have told them whatever your boundaries for this game is. You can play all outside. You can play a mix of outside and inside, but you need a pretty big playing area that has places where people could hide. Not like hide, like, I mean, they can climb a tree. They can like
go behind the dumpster or something.
Go in the dumpster, which is not uncommon. Hide in a bush or just run around, whatever. But it kind of needs to be a hide and seek type of place. So once they have their 60-second head start, then you send the predators out. Those are your leaders, and they are armed with dodgeballs. So once you release them, the leaders go and hunt down the kids. And I think that's the part the kids love is
that kind of fun fear.
Yeah, of like they try so hard to find the best hiding spot in the world. Like literally, I'm not kidding. They'll get inside trash cans. Because they want to be the person that doesn't get caught. We've had kids climb trees way too high. So we had to put like a height limit on like, hey, you can't climb above 6 feet or something like that. Under cars. So just don't underestimate where they might hide. So make sure you set some rules. Like, please don't go on our roof. Please don't go under cars.
If you don't think, they wouldn't do that.
They will.
They will.
They're very competitive
and crazy
people, you know? So if a leader hits them with a dodgeball, then basically that kid has to give the leader their card because it's kind of like, okay, the leader got the win. You give them the card and now the student is out for the rest of the round and they come back into the auditorium. And that's usually where I am because I gauge how many kids have come in and kind of gauge when to end the round. So kids always ask, well, what if I catch it? Like dodgeball.
Right.
Nope. I say if the dodgeball hits you in any way, if it rolls past your foot, if it bounces, if anything, if it touches you, you're out in any way. So that kind of it makes it more like they've got no chance. They just got to get out of there. So once you feel like it's a good ratio of kids still alive versus kids that got hit, I usually call the round and then the leaders only turn in their cards to you and you count them. It's like golf. The low score wins. So the least amount of hits wins. So if Pink Drink you got 42 cards and Cold Foam, you got 30, Cold Foam wins because it's less. I just gave you a stupid math lesson, but I wanted you to understand it's not the high score that wins. Here's another very common pitfall on this game. No matter how many times I explain it, I tell kids, if you survived the round, meaning you never got hit, you still got your predator card, do not give it to me. Keep it. We'll play another round. Keep that card. But students come in so proud, like, I didn't get hit. And they turn it into me. I say, if you give it to me, it's going to get counted as a hit because it goes in the pile. Do not give it to me. Leaders only, leaders only. The other thing that kids are going to be tempted to do is they're going to ask you, guarantee it, can I be a predator? And I did it once because I'm like, why not? That sounds like fun. But here was the problem. kids were not expecting other kids. So they got hit and then they got mad at me like, Kristen, I didn't even know they were a predator. So I didn't run away. I was only expecting leaders, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, yeah, okay. So I would say just have leaders do it. Or you could have them, I don't know, wear a mask and
something to differentiate.
Yeah, designate like this is a predator too. And so time it so that you can play at least 2 to 3 rounds, because one round of this game is never enough. The kids are always like, we're playing another round, right? Because they like to try to outdo themselves. Like, I got caught right away, but this time I'm going to come up with a better spot. And then I always do the thing of like, raise your hand if you survive the round, and they'll like wave their cards, you know, and they like, it's like this status symbol now if you made it through a round of Predator without getting caught. So that is my students' absolute hands down favorite game, requested every week. If you have some fun team ideas, let me know. We've done some super weird ones.
Like team names, you mean?
Yeah, and it's always something different. Like we don't do red team versus blue team. Right. It's something weird from like pop culture that's going on. So if you have some fun ideas for teams, I would love that.
Yeah, put them in the comments below.
Because it's got to be better than pink drink versus cold foam.
I don't know, that's pretty good. But I had no idea what either of those two were. I guess I don't go to Starbucks enough. Again, if you guys want the instructions emailed to you, email us at ministrycoachpodcast@gmail.com and ask for the Dodgeball PDF instructions, and we will send that over to you. But now it is time for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, what was your most embarrassing moment growing up?
Man, Jeff, there was probably a lot, I would probably say. But one that sticks out to me is, I think I was 18. So consider that growing up, whatever. It was my first time at Whitewater. That's the name of our camp where we go whitewater rafting. I was an intern, maybe. And we're in the mountains, you know, and your stomach does silly things in the mountains. And so one afternoon,
that altitude air builds up.
You know where I'm going with this, don't you? When we were done rafting and waiting for dinner and we were hanging out, and there was this leader, and she looked really left out and lonely. She was new and she didn't have any friends. So I went over to talk to her, and I was like asking her questions and stuff. And we were sitting at this picnic table, and all the dust, I sneezed. And as the force of the sneeze came out, it forced
You shot in both directions.
I did. It was a sneeze fart. And
a snark?
Okay, but here's the thing. I kept talking as if it never happened. I didn't know her very well. I didn't feel like we could laugh about that. And she was a little bit like serious, you know? Maybe that's why I shouldn't have any friends. But she like didn't acknowledge it. And then these junior high boys, of course, they're like, did I hear some flatulence? So I had to laugh. And I felt like a stupid idiot for the rest of that hour. And then I got over it. No, I was pretty embarrassed.
Mine was in 8th grade. I was in history class, and we were, I think, just to kind of decompress before or after a test, we would just do states and capitals and things like that. And my crush at the time went up, and you had to write your name on the board, and then the teacher would give you states, and you had to say the capitals, and however many you got right, you put that number next to your name, and the next person would get up. So she had gone up right before me, written her name down, all that stuff. So I came up.
What's her name?
We don't need to talk about that. And I was the next one to go up, and my mind was totally on just her and not on what I was doing. And as I went up to the whiteboard, I just started writing her name on the board.
Maybe she is the capital of somewhere.
Instead of my own name. And about halfway through it, I realized what I was doing, and I quickly erased it, wrote my own name.
I thought you were supposed to write a capital.
No. You write your name and then how many you got right. And so I just was mortified, but I thought maybe nobody saw. And in the back of the room, I heard her friend say, "Ooh." you. He's thinking of you to her. So I knew I'd been caught. So then the teacher was like, I mean, I was just devastated. And the teacher was like, what's the capital of Alabama? And I was like, Thursday. I had no idea.
You know what? That is the equivalent of sending a text to the wrong person because you're thinking of them. You know, like if you wanted to send a text about someone, but to someone else, well, you're thinking of that person.
Yeah.
So you send them a text about them to them.
Always double check who you're sending it to.
Always double check. I've done that twice. And it's been devastating results. Let me tell you.
Because JK, it doesn't follow it up well enough to get past it.
Nope.
Write your
Two
most
ended
embarrassing
friendships.
Yeah. Write your most embarrassing moments in the comments below. We love to hear them. And we thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And also, I think I already mentioned it, but make sure you email us and we'll send you the dodgeball instructions.
You did mention.
Okay. Thank you guys for watching and listening. We will see you next time.